Hi, and welcome to Intermediate Algebra for the spring semester 2023 at RVCC. I am Professor Fort. I am teaching actually two sections of Intermediate Algebra, one that begins on January 18th and the other that starts 4 weeks later in the middle of February. So this video will be for both classes because it's the same course. It has the same requirements and setups. The Canvas shells may look a little bit different because the number of weeks is different, but other than that, the course mostly remains the same. I wanted to start the video off with a picture of my face so that you can see there really is somebody on the other end of the computer as you're typing in responses and sending emails. And I work full-time at RVCC. Stop by in the West building. I'm in West 307H, all the way in the back by the window. You get a good view of the back parking lot when you, you come visit. But it would be nice if I saw your face at some point during the semester too, so that we could sort of meet up with each other and know that there really are people that are interacting with each other. So when you watch the videos for the course that I made, you won't see my face, you'll see the whiteboard, which is plenty. But I just thought I'd put this in here so that you could see who's on the other end of your course. So let me bring up the Canvas screen, and I will sort of walk you through the course and explain how some of the things work, where to find some important things in the course, and what the requirements are as you walk through the course so that you're all ready for that first day of class. So here we are. This is my Canvas screen. Obviously, yours will have whatever courses you have this semester as a student. I've got the ones I'm teaching this semester. And you notice, first of all, that my two algebra courses happen to be in the same color, and they both have different names on them. So when they originally arrived, they were just labeled Matho 30, 98V, and 91V, and there's no way I'm going to remember that the 98V starts before the 91V. So anytime on Canvas where you see these three buttons in a row, you can usually click on that, and you're able to edit something. So in this case, I gave it a nickname. One of them is the full-term course, one of them is the 10-week course. The other thing I can do is I can change the color, because right now they're both going to come up on the same color when I look at my assignments on the Canvas calendar. So maybe instead of having them both this sort of reddish orange, I want to turn the other one to a darker blue. All right. So now I've got two distinct colors for my algebra class. So when I look at the Canvas calendar, I can tell which one is which. Okay. This little announcement thing underneath it means that there's announcements waiting. So if you see that, I've read all the announcements because I'm the one that posted them. But if you ever see that little megaphone with a number, that means that there's announcements waiting for you to read. You can set the announcement so that you get push notifications to your phone. Also so that you get emails. If you read your RV email box more often, then you can get those announcements sent there. And this way you'll get them in more than one place, especially if there's something significant. Mostly in an online class, there'll be reminders about things that are coming up, a reminder about a test, reminder about discussion posts. But if there's an office hour change at the last minute, you might want to be notified about that, especially if you were coming to campus planning for me to be there, and for whatever reason I got sick or got called into a meeting. So when you open this up, here's the modules. They're all listed for you. The intro video will be there, updated when I finish recording it. But the very first thing is there's a course information module. Each of these things that are gray are called modules. You can open and close them by clicking on them. So as the weeks go by, you won't want to see all the weeks open, so you'll want to close them, make it easier to navigate. All right, so when you open up the course information module, there will be the welcome video. Course information is basically the text version of what I'm recording right now. There's two syllabi. There's the regular syllabus, and then there's the syllabus supplement. So when you open up the syllabus, it'll give you all the information you need about the course. The best way to reach me is by the Canvas email tool. If you come up with the side here where it says inbox, click on inbox. I'm not going to do that now because the way it works, you're going to see emails that people have been sending me during the winter session, which I just finished, and throughout the fall. So I don't want to put anybody's names on a video. So click on that inbox. You'll get a little pencil icon. Click on that icon. It'll ask you to pick which course. So choose Intermediate Algebra. And then you can actually email each other in the class. It'll come up with a list of names, and then my name will be one of them as well. Office hours are listed here. Mondays, and then Tuesday, Thursdays. The class meets asynchronously, so there's no on-campus meetings except that you're going to take tests in the testing center. The textbook, you don't need a paper copy of it, but you will need my Math Lab access. Purchase the access code either through the bookstore or you can get it directly through Pearson, but there's no course ID. You need the access code, but there's no course ID that you will access directly through Canvas. You do need to get on my Math Lab right away because that's how you access the textbook, and that's also how you do the homework. The course covers a lot of material. A lot of this is foundational material for whatever you're taking next, pre-calc, stats, the Math for Educators courses. Some of this you come in already knowing, right? Some of this you may have seen before, but you're not real good at it. Others will be brand new. So throughout the course, you'll be back and forth. Some sections will seem very easy, and you'll look at it and you'll say, but I've already done this before. Okay. The next section, though, you might look and go, oh yeah, I remember this, and I didn't really understand it. And that's what this course is here to help you do, to build up those skills. So it really is a lot of material. But again, not everything is going to be brand new to you. There's a list of student learning outcomes. You can look and see the types of things we do. It's all very algebra based, everything from graphing lines through graphing circles. That's really actually what we finish with at the end of the course. In a course like this, if it meets 4 hours a week, you would expect to spend 4 hours in class and 8 hours outside of class. For the 10-week class, it's going to be a little bit more because you won't have started until 4 weeks into the semester. You should be checking every couple of days on Canvas to see what's going on in the class, to see if there's any announcements, to post discussions, to read information that other people have posted. Please don't log in just once a week because you might find out that you missed a lot of information. The grading system. Tests are done on campus. They're 50% of your grade. That's a departmental policy. That's not something that I came up with. The online homework and the discussions add up to 20%, so I split them 13 and 7. And again, departmental policy in a course like this is that the final exam is worth 30%. There's only 4 possible letter grades you can get at the end of this. A, B, C, or as I call the fourth one, none of the above. There's no pluses or minuses. There's no D-level grades in the class. And so to pass the course, you need 2 things. You need at least a 50 on the final and at least a 70 average overall. All right, the discussions in the course like this work a little bit differently. Maybe you've done discussions where you've shared opinions and things like that. I'll explain to you how the discussions work in just a minute. There is also a syllabus supplement. The syllabus supplement has things that maybe you don't need everyday access to, but some reminders. For example, if you've got accommodations, I need a copy of those right away because I need to be able to implement whatever accommodations you have. Accommodations are not retroactive. In other words, you can't come back at the end of the semester and want me to redo the course with those accommodations in place. Last day to withdraw from the class is Friday, April 7th in the regular term. In the 10-week term, it's the April 14th, so it's not that much difference. The policy on makeup work is in here. Essentially, there's no makeup assignments unless there's an extraordinary case, an illness, some reasons you couldn't get to campus, like you have COVID and you're not allowed on campus. But you would need to communicate with me in advance about those things. Please don't wait until after something's due, especially after it's graded and returned, and then say, oh, by the way, I need to make this up. Even though you might have a perfectly valid excuse, you're now asking me to rewrite a whole new test just because you didn't email me in enough time for me to hold those tests until you completed whatever work you needed to do. All right, if you look, what's after this is all the information about when things are due. The first week in the full semester course is actually a week and a half because I wanted it to end on Sunday. So the 10-week course runs Wednesday through Tuesday weeks. This one runs generally Mondays through Sundays. So check the syllabus and check those due dates to find out when things are due. I oftentimes have them due on regular days throughout the semester. In other words, the homework is often due on a Sunday night or a Tuesday night. But every once in a while with a test, there may be exceptions. And so I would make a note of them here. This way you can follow along. So in this case, the schedule is just 2 pages. You might want to print it out. And it's kind of nice to mark off the things as you do them. This way you know you're not missing anything. The things are always due at 11:59 unless they're indicated otherwise. For example, something you're going to take in campus in the testing center is not open until 11:59, so you would have to have it done by whatever time they close on that day. You'll notice for the discussions, for the most part, there's a first post and a final post. What these are problems. So if I go and I look at the first module, the first module has the discussion from Chapter 3. It also has a list of discussion guidelines, so you can read through those. Here's the discussion for Chapter 3. So here's a little preview, right? This is what the questions are. There's 3 problems on here. It asks you to post your initial response and then make any corrections. So you can post. You're not going to see anybody else's post until you post. So you can post your response, and then you can start to look at other people's responses. And you can offer them comments like, hey, I think this is right. I don't think that's right. Perhaps you can, and, obviously be nice about it. But then you can also make corrections on yours. So if somebody suggests you misinterpreted what the value of X means in problem 2, I think it means such and such, then you might go, oh yeah, they're right. Then you can respond to your own post and make a correction. So the earlier you post, the more time you have to get feedback from other people. I will take those posts until the due date, whether it's Sunday night or Tuesday night, whatever it is for your class. But if you post 5 minutes before it's due, you're going to lose that opportunity to get feedback from other people, and you're simply going to be left with what other answers you have. So if you post all the correct answers, that's fine. But if you could have benefited from some feedback, you lose that opportunity. Now, if it happens once or twice, that's not a big deal. But if every week you're losing that opportunity to get feedback, those are points at the end of the semester that you would probably wish that you had. So please plan ahead so that you can post earlier in the week. And then don't forget to go back and look to see if other people have given you some responses. Right, there's some information here about how to register for my math lab, some troubleshooting, some discussion guidelines. I posted them here as well. Information on the tutoring center and the withdrawal schedule for the spring. Now, take a look at how each of these weeks are set up. I have information at the beginning with an overview. So the beginning of the course has very long overviews because it's your first time through the class. After that, then I post much less at the beginning of every week, but I sort of walk you through what types of things you're going to do this week and sort of help you to follow along in that syllabus. Okay. There's also a set of assignments that I'm calling Access to Success assignments. This college has a program in the last year of trying to help students be successful in their courses, right? That's what we should do as a college. They call it Access to Success. So for a couple of courses, intermediate algebra being one of them, we're putting in these assignments. Now, they're not graded. They don't count towards your percentage for the semester, but they're designed to help you think about how you think and about how you learn and to become better students. And they're short. They're not like half-hour-long assignments. They're a 2-minute video to watch. They're a 2 to 3 minute reflection to write to make you think about how you become successful at things and how you could become a better student. And so that's what these things are. So you'll notice that there's a getting to know you assignment and it's listed at 0 points. It would be nice if you did it. It would probably help you to think about, how you learn and how you become a part of the course, but there's no penalty for not completing it. Right, some things I just put up here that I think are helpful. If you don't have access to graph paper, here's a set of graph grids. Print them out. You've got graph paper. Right, for each of the sections, I have PowerPoints that I would use in an in-person class. I also recorded videos for you, and the videos go with those PowerPoints. So those PowerPoints are not from the textbook. They are PowerPoints that I made. I steal a couple of textbook problems sometimes, but they are my own PowerPoints and then my own videos to go with them. What follows underneath them is the online homework. Now, the first time you complete an online homework set, you're going to have to register for my math lab. So the way you do that is you could click on My Lab and Mastering, or you can simply click on the first homework assignment, and it'll bring you to a page that says you need to register for the course. If you have a Pearson login, log in with that, and then down the bottom on the first page will be a little button to click that says you want 14-day free access. So if you're not entirely sure if you're going to stick with the course, sign up for that free access, and then, of course, after 14 days, then it's going to ask you to purchase the product to remain in the course. When you get access to the homework, you also get access to the textbook. So let's take a look at the book. All right, when you click on it for the first time, you'll see something here like Getting Started. Obviously, I've already linked my course to the Canvas course. When I open up My Lab and Mastering, it opens up the actual My Lab course. And on the side over here is where you can find the textbook. So you have a couple of options for them. If I go into Course Tools, then there's an HTML ebook. That is something that's good if you like mobile phone applications or an iPad or something like that. It doesn't have as much of the graphics in it. The other option is to click down here where it says e-text, and then it makes you click again, and it brings up something that looks like the actual physical pages in the textbook. So the HTML version is more web browser based. This makes it look a little bit more like the textbook. So if you happen to know what page you're looking for, like if you know something is on page 292, you can highlight down the bottom and type in 292, and look, here's sections on linear inequalities. Okay, the other option is to click on these table of contents over here, and if you know that you're interested in material from chapter 6, section 4, because who doesn't love factoring? Here's section 6.4, and there's information. So if you're watching my videos and you're like, all right, these are pretty good, but I really need some more examples from section 6.4, then pull it up to the textbook. Or if something I'm saying is a little bit confusing and you want to see somebody else's take on it, then you can see the way the textbook explains it. You can see some of their examples. And if you needed a couple of more practice problems, there's practice problems in there as well. The other thing that the My Math Lab Access is helpful for is this. If you go back to the course, here I'm going to open it up this way. If you click on these assignments, they'll open inside of your browser. Now, mine is not going to open yet because the course isn't open yet. All right, but normally the problems would open right in there. Sometimes what happens is you open a problem and it opens a window in a window in a window, and you get a very small viewing window, and you have to try to scroll up and down to see the whole question in one shot. When that happens, switch back to the My Math Lab view, and then once you've linked the courses together, then you can actually do the assignments right here in My Math Lab. So if you click on assignments, it'll bring up a list of assignments. I don't have any assignments yet because they haven't been set up for me yet, but you will have assignments when the course opens on the 18th or February 15th, and you can see your whole list of assignments and then do them directly from My Math Lab without going back and forth between My Math Lab and Canvas. You do have to link up the courses once because that's how I transfer the grades. The grades will show up in My Math Lab up until the due date. Once they're due, then I will import the grades from My Math Lab into Canvas, and you'll be able to keep track of your completed assignments in Canvas. If you don't link up the courses correctly, then none of the grades will transfer. And that's a lot of grades for me to have to transfer manually when we figure that out. All right, so please go in and link the courses up first. Once you do that, then everything will transfer through correctly. All right, what else is here in the course? I mentioned that the discussion, so I usually organize them so that there's an intro, there's notes, there's the online homework, and then there's a discussion. And if you look at the little dates on the bottom, will tell you when they're due. The beginning stuff, there's an orientation to My Math Lab that's optional. If you've used My Math Lab, let's say for elementary algebra, or you've used it in number systems or a different course, you probably don't have to go through the orientation. It's the same My Math Lab. If you've never used an online program before, it sometimes gets a little bit picky about how it wants things answered. And so that orientation doesn't count for anything, but it'll save you some headaches as you go through the semester so that you don't have to say, well, hold on a minute, I got the equivalent. I typed in 1.732 as an answer, yes, but the question said give an exact value, and so the square root of 3 is what it was looking for. So don't get questions marked incorrect for things like that. The other thing you'll notice is it'll tell you how many problems there are. So if it's 4 points, it's 4 little problems to do. All right, some of these problems obviously have multiple parts to them, but you can get some preview of what you're in for by looking at the points there. All right, so each of those modules open up like that, right? There's week 1, week 2 opens up. And you can see down here is one of those access to success assignments. Some weeks have discussions, some weeks don't. When you get to the first test, which for this class is February 13th and 14th, you will click on the link for test 1, and it'll remind you to go in and click on the RVCC scheduling for the testing center. The testing center doesn't require appointments, but it's nice if you can book them in advance because that gives them an idea of how many people are going to show up. And if they see that there's a lot of people scheduled for appointments on a certain day, they can get some additional staff in there so there's not a long wait when you go in. If everybody shows up unannounced, then you could be waiting a little bit longer to start your test. Always check to see what time the testing center opens and closes. Those appointments that you make are 5-minute appointments to get you in there and get them to check your ID and stuff like that and give you the test. The tests I give you 2 hours for. So if the testing center, for example, closes at 6 o'clock, you're going to want to make sure that you start your test no later than 4 o'clock because they're not going to stay after 6. Some nights they're open until 8. In that case, then make sure you start the test by 6 o'clock. All right, you get 2 hours for the test. You could use a scientific calculator. When you go to the testing center, make sure you have a photo ID and then bring your calculator with you. They probably have a couple to loan out, but you don't want them to run out at the time that you show up for the test. All right, what else is on here that could be helpful? Obviously, announcements I'll post. People just gives you a list of the people in the class. If you need to contact somebody, you can do it that way. The My Math Lab we talked about, grades is just what it tells you. You should keep track of what your grades are for the semester. I will post test grades. I will put the My Math Lab assignments. You'll see your discussion grades in there. So you should always have an idea of what your running average is in the course. Syllabus is just what you think it is. It's another place to find the syllabus, but it also gives you a running list of when things are due. So you notice in this section of the class, a lot of things are due on Sundays. Right? Don't wait until Sunday night to do them all, but you can see when they're all due. And then if there's an exception, like here's a time that a test is due, it'll pop up as a little bit differently. So that is something nice, is that it gives you a running list of when things are due. Brightwave course materials is just something that came with the bookstore. So if you purchased the textbook through the bookstore and it gave you a Brightwave code or something like that, that's where you use it. And then modules basically gets you back to the main page. But I don't have a fancy setup front page, so my front page are the modules. So modules is just another way to get you back from where we started. All right, one other thing that might be helpful is I know this video is going a little bit long. On the left side here, so you notice the way Canvas is set up. Here's my course. Here's a menu that goes with my course. This menu on the side goes with all of Canvas. So this gray menu applies to all of your courses. Right? If I click on calendar, up pops a calendar that contains information about all of my classes. Now you notice what's weird here is we're in January. All it has is this stuff up here because I just finished teaching intermediate algebra over the winter session. So this is for my winter session class, but where's all the stuff for my classes that start the week of the 15th? Oh, look at this. Over on the side, you notice I have a whole bunch of courses and very little is checked. So where are we? We are 030 online. So when I click on that, all of a sudden course material appears. If I click on other courses, right, I have a section of Calc 2 Honors. That's in a different color, right? That's gray. If I click on the Math for Educators course, that's red. So now you can start to see the Canvas calendar populating with assignments and due dates for other courses. Okay, if I move on to February, you'll see a lot more of them. And then I can pop in my 10-week intermediate class, and that class is in there as well. Okay, they're red also. So now you can see I've got different colors for different courses and dates that are due. All right, so you can do the same thing with your courses as well. That's why at the beginning I had said if you have two courses that are the same color, which it does appear that I do have, my late start intermediate and my Math for Educators are both red. So you notice what happens on the 21st is I have a whole bunch of assignments due, but they're not all due from the same class. And so play around with those colors that are on Canvas until all of your classes are a different color, and then you'll be able to color code them in the Canvas calendar. And the other thing too is if you first log in and your Canvas calendar is blank, for some reason Canvas doesn't automatically fill in the courses for the current semester. So you have to go on the side here and click which ones you want to see on the calendar, and then you'll be able to see everything on the calendar, and that's a nice way to keep track of what it is that's due and when it's due. And if you see something that's due, you should be able to click on that, and it gives you more information. It tells you what course it's from, and then if it has any details, it gives you details as well. All right, so that is our intermediate algebra course. Thanks for sticking through this video. Hopefully it filled in a lot of blanks for you. If you have any questions about the way the course works, certainly drop me an email. Use that inbox on Canvas. That's the best way to find me. Thanks a lot and have a great semester.